when Miss Mazzola was picking up the hat and the glove, you realized that you could not claim that it wasn't the envelope based on the fact that the coroners weren't there.
Overruled on that basis. Overruled. Argumentative it is. Sustained.
You were shown a segment of videotape which depicted the coroners being present when Miss Mazzola was collecting the hat and the glove. Your Honor, he asked several questions about this.
Overruled. Quickly.
Trying.
Okay, Abs, thank you for stopping by, and we miss you as well. And have a great day tomorrow. And see you hopefully in a few days. Peace. We love you very much.
Yes, I did see videotape of that.
And when you saw that videotape, withdrawn. Now, on redirect examination, I'm at page 23045. Did you...
Yes.
23045, Counsel.
Now, in redirect examination, we asked these questions, and did you give these answers? Question. Calling his attention to his testimony. Question. When you were involved in the collection process, were you trying to keep track of where the coroner's representatives were, or if they were even there? Answer, no. Question. To this day, do you have an independent recollection of them being there? Answer, no independent recollection, no. Question. Do you have any reason to believe that they were there other than the one clip of videotape that you saw with what appears to be the pants leg of one of the coroner's representatives in it? Answer, no. Only the videotape shows that they're there. Quote giving that answer?
Yes.
So you're now saying, sir, that you're sure that that isn't the envelope.
Yes.
And you're sure because it is not your practice to touch objects with your bare hand.
Overruled.
It's not my practice to touch bloody items that could be for prints.
So your certainty with respect to the envelope comes from assuming that you always follow the rules.
Sustained.
Is it your habit when testifying, sir, to say that you use correct procedures even if you do not have an independent recollection of what you did?
I testify to what I can remember, and if I don't have a specific memory, I will state that I don't and testify to what I generally do.
And sometimes you testify to what you generally do without saying, this is what I generally do. You just state it as a fact that you did it.
Sustained.
I have the envelope that is item number 10. Now, you recall on direct examination a videotape of you stuffing the blue gauze pad back in the envelope. Redirect, I'm sorry.
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, could we have a knife again?
A knife?
Knife, your pen knife, scissors, anything.
Not
Oh, things are getting more ominous as... Could you please cut the top of the envelope, the same fashion that we did before?
Along the bottom again?
What's along that?
Well, I'll object because if it's the same fashion, I think he was wearing gloves in the tip, so.
Yes, that's true.
Mrs. Robertson? Gloves?
Could you please unseal the top and drop the item on the stand?
Okay, counter it.
Counter, the witness stand.
For the record, you just cut along the top. I believe
But
this is
just put it as you got it. Now, when you first took it out, it was wrinkled, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
All right. And it was wrinkled because when you stuffed it into the coin envelope using the scoop method, it became wrinkled in that fashion.
Yes.
Right? But when you first saw that item, when we pulled it out originally, it was just folded over.
Oh, wait a minute, that's irrelevant how it was when you first saw it.
Overruled.
It was just folded over, wasn't it?
That's because other people had analyzed it since.
Well, I'm only asking you what you when you first saw the item.
Oh, and Mermaid, congratulations to you, and yeah, that definitely will happen with the withdrawals. Yeah. And you're very strong to go through this, and continued prayers and thoughts for you about what you're going through, and thank you for updating me about what's going on. It's normal to be nervous, of course. Yes, I agree, Passion. And yes, I'm nervous and continue, but stop. I think I have to continue. It'll be for the best. Yes, if you fall and stumble, it's okay. But yeah, try to keep on going and persisting, and eventually you'll make it over to the other side of the tunnel. Your house is built in the rock, and later on you'll be glad you did what you did. Okay. Thank you for the update, Mermaid. Absolutely. Yeah, you can see, and also Ito has been getting very fed up with Scheck, and he's been yelling at him, and Goldman roasted him too. It's been quite intense. All right, here we go.
Oh, wait a minute, that's irrelevant how it was when you first saw it.
Overruled.
It was just folded over, wasn't it?
That's because other people had analyzed it since.
Well, I'm only asking you what you when you first saw the item.
One person talks at a time here. If I have to instruct another person as to that rule, There'll be sanctions. Thank you. Proceed.
May I make an objection?
Yes, you may.
I'd object that he allow the
Basis.
witness to answer, to finish his answer.
Proceed.
Finish with your answer?
Yes.
When you first saw that blue item, it was folded.
Yes.
It wasn't wrinkled.
Do you mean, did it have any wrinkles in it, or?
Yes, was it wrinkled in the same fashion as we saw it when you put it on the table just now?
Wait. Was this piece of evidence analyzed for anything?
Yes.
Your Honor.
Really? This is...
Your Honor.
The jury saw it when it came out. The jury saw it when it went back in. Proceed.
Next question, Your Honor. Would you agree that this item became wrinkled by the method you used to insert it into this coin envelope? The scoop method.
Calls for speculation.
Overruled.
Yes. It was wrinkled by that method.
All right. But when you first took that item out, I showed it to you on cross-examination, it was not wrinkled in that fashion through the scoop method, was it?
It was.
Overruled.
It was folded.
It was folded. Your Honor, I'm finished with that.
All right. Mr. Fung, would you return that, please? All right. Mr. Fung has placed it back into the envelope. Proceed.
Now, when you, on redirect examination, tried scooping it into the envelope, you were trying to do something clever to avoid the inference that Detective Furman had collected that item with gloves on the morning of June 13th.
Sustain its argumentative.
Did you have any concern when you were testifying with respect to this item that the jury might believe that Detective Furman had gloves in his possession on the morning of June 13th when he collected that item?
Argumentative.
Overruled.
No.
Let's turn to the Bronco, sir. Show you what's been the People's 197B. Now, this is the photograph you were shown on redirect examination.
Yes, it was.
And this is a photograph taken on June 14th.
Yes, it is.
Are these 4 reddish stains a 1/4 of an inch long?
From the best of my recollection, no, they're not.
Are these reddish stains that look like brush marks?
They don't appear to be brush marks to me.
When you observed these items on the door sill of the Bronco on June 14th, were they red?
They were reddish.
Sure then.
Yes.
Do they appear to you to be reddish in this photograph?
When I look at the monitor, in this picture right now, I can't even see the stains.
All right, we've changed the contrast on it.
No.
Well, now they appear dark.
They're not red.
Well, Your Honor, this isn't the photograph you were showing.
Well,
Overruled.
have you examined the photograph?
Yes.
Does it look red in the photograph?
It looks brown or dark in the photograph.
Gray or black?
It's dark.
Specks of dirt?
It's not a question.
It's a stain.
Could it be specks of dirt?
Speculation.
It's vague as to what we're talking about.
Now, on July 6th, Ms. Clark told you to go out and look at the Bronco, you're testifying, to see if there were 4 red stains on the exterior of the door sill?
She told me to do that at some date prior to that. I don't know. I don't believe it was on the 6th, but I did go out there on the 6th to look for stains that were visible from the exterior,
Well,
specifically on the driver door.
didn't she tell you to go out and look at the exterior of the driver door the day before you testified at the preliminary hearing?
It was around that time, but I'm not absolutely sure that it was the day before. It may have been 2 or 3 days before.
Have you previously testified that you went out to inspect the Bronco the morning of your testimony of the preliminary hearing, which was July 6th,
Yes.
and that you had been told to go out the day before to do it?
Well, transcript page 1.
Try it this way. Were you informed by Ms. Clark that a detective had testified to seeing red stains on the door sill of the Bronco?
She had told me that a detective had told her that stains were visible from the outside of the Bronco.
4 red stains on the exterior of the door sill.
She didn't tell me how many.
Well, cross-examination, page 22410, line 22.
Certainly.
Six next.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, and keep the book there, please, because we're going to go to another page.
What do you mean lines?
Well, I'm starting at 22410, line 22.
All right.
You identified 4 items.
Yes.
All right. Now, on cross-examination, on page 22406, line 1, we asked these questions. Did you give these answers?
Hold on. Proceed.
Question. My question, sir, is it your testimony that you saw 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door on June 14th, but you thought they were not heavy enough, and therefore you did not direct the photographer to take a picture. Is that what happened? Answer, I can't. I don't know if there were 4 or not. The number 4 is the problem with the answer. Question, you saw 3 on the exterior of the Bronco on June? Answer, I don't recall the number. Question, are you saying that you saw 3 red stains on the morning of June 14th? Stains. On the morning of June 14th? Answer, no, I'm not saying that. Are you saying you saw 2 red stains? Answer, I do remember that there was either a stain or 2 stains that were very light along the sill area that I did not collect. Ask those questions. Did you give those answers?
Yes.
Now, after the weekend and looking at photographs, you're now prepared to say that 197B shows 4 red stains that you saw on the morning of June 14th.
Those are areas that were present that I don't specifically remember these stains, but I do remember stains present on the vehicle in those locations approximately, and these are consistent with those areas.
Well, you're telling us that you have an independent recollection of seeing 4 stains on June 14th?
No, it's not what I'm saying.
You're not saying that?
I'm not saying that.
So basically what you're telling us is that you looked at this photograph and you're now reconstructing the fact that those must be 4 red stains.
I knew that I remember seeing stains on the door sill that day, and looking at the photograph, I'm identifying these as possible red stains.
Now, 3 of the items that you've circled here can only be seen if the door is open.
The 2, the very top one and the one to the right, that's correct.
So to see these items, someone would have to open the door of the car.
To see those, yes.
Now, you gave us testimony that the fibers from a carpet can get into the crevices of shoes.
They have a more, yes.
And so, if someone has stepped in blood and the shoes are no longer making impressions of bloody shoe prints on cement, when a person steps on fibers, the fibers will go into the crevices of the shoe.
It's possible.
And that would be true for the shoes of a police officer who had stepped in blood, as it would be for any other person wearing shoes.
Oh, well,
If that was, yeah, it is likely.
Now, the mat in the car, the Bronco, doesn't have fibers.
No,
And the brake pedal doesn't have fibers.
it's made out of rubber.
Now, you told us that you didn't swatch these items, these red you didn't, withdrawn. You did not swatch the items that you saw on the door sill
That's correct.
on June 14th,
Yes,
because you were only taking representative samples.
I was taking representative samples.
Where is it in the rules of your laboratory that there's a doctrine about taking only representative samples?
I don't know if it's written anywhere, but that's the way I was trained, and that's been the policy handed down and taught to every criminalist that's worked for the Los Angeles Police Department.
Is there any document that you know of in the crime lab that talks about taking only representative samples?
I'm not aware of one.
And in terms of swatching a stain so that you only get a representative sample, is that in any document in the crime lab?
I don't know of any document to that effect.
And we're clear on this. You recall testifying that when you swatch stains in the Bronco, you didn't swatch the whole stain, you only swatched a representative sample of the stain.
I believe that wasn't for every stain, but one stain in particular that you were talking about.
Stains on the console.
Yes.
But as far as you know, the only document in the crime lab that instructs you about swatching for purposes of DNA testing directs the criminalist to get as much of the stain as possible.
Oh, well. The collection for conventional serological or conventional serology and DNA collection are essentially the same.
Do you recall, withdrawing, haven't you seen a handout that gives directions on how criminalists should swatch blood evidence?
If you could show it to me, I may be refreshed, but
Do you recall you and I went through a form that had about 13 different directions on them?
you've shown a lot of things to me over the last 8 days.
Okay. Now, on redirect examination, you indicated that you didn't think that you were necessarily covered by the rules in the Los Angeles Police Department manual.
I believe
Let's do it this way. Do you believe that you're covered by the rules in the Los Angeles Police Department manual?
certain aspects of the manual do pertain to the civilians, yes.
The manual, as it sets forth rules on the booking and handling of evidence, does that govern you?
Haven't we gone over this already?
Well, he did it on redirect. I'm doing it fast.
Doesn't mean we have to do it again.
Well, I'll do it fast. I have just 2 or 3 questions here.
The guidelines and the general principles are applicable to us, yes.
Well, there are guidelines and general principles, but you don't feel that you have to follow those rules as written with respect to booking evidence?
As long as I'm following the intention of the policy, that's what the manual's for.
And the rules say that you should book biological evidence as soon as possible?
Yes?
And in this case, you did not book by putting the items into the evidence processing, the evidence control unit, the swatches from Bundy, or Mr. Simpson's blood sample, or the glove, or the hat, or any of these items until June 16th.
Booking those items of evidence by June 16th was very quick.
My question, sir, you did not take them to the ECU and have them stamped and booked until June 16th.
That is correct.
Now, you've told us on redirect examination that no rule or procedure would be violated if you had told Andrea Mazzola to throw out some original pages of the crime scene checklist and write a new form.
Well, it's overbroad. We specified certain images.
Oh, well.
I stated that they could be rewritten.
Well, weren't you asked that there was no rule or procedure that would be violated if you had told Mr. Zola to throw out the original page and write a new form?
Oh, well.
I stated something to that effect about a portion of a form, yes.
Well, it was the page where Ms. Mazzola had written, Ms. Mazzola had written in handwriting, right, 17 as the sneakers, 18 as the blood vial, and 19 as a hair from the Rockingham glove.
The one with no actual form writing on it or Xeroxing?
Yes, but it was on the back of a piece of paper that was an official form.
Yes.
Well, are you telling us that that form could have been, that original piece of paper could have been thrown out without violating any rule?
As long as the information was transposed to another form.
So you feel you have no obligation to save original documents?
It's also irrelevant. It is the document.
In your crime lab, are there any rules that require you to save original crime scene checklists?
It's still be relevant these days.
All right, he asked questions that you could just throw these out.
Answer the question.
Once there are rules, yes.
The rules are that the originals are supposed to be kept in one place in the laboratory.
The final version of the originals, yes.
Now, you were informed that there was a court order to produce original documents in this case.
Eventually, well, one was ordered, yes.
Well, do you recall, when did you first learn that there was a court order to have original documents examined?
It was somewhere around the preliminary hearing. That's what I recall.
Preliminary hearing, that was in July 1994.
That's what I recall. I don't recall when it was.
Somebody asked you in July of 1994 to produce your original documents of the crime scene checklist?
To the best of my recollection. I don't recall exactly when, but that's when I recall.
Who asked you to do that?
I don't know.
Someone in the lab?
I don't recall.
Well, did Michelle Kessler or Greg Matheson review your originals in July?
I don't recall when they reviewed my originals.
Your Honor, I have
Go ahead and finish.
15 minutes.
Go ahead and finish.
With 15 minutes?
Be my guest.
Thank you. Now,
Madam Reporter?
is that okay? Now, do you recall about 2 months ago that you were informed that the defense had requested the originals of your crime scene checklists for purposes of having them examined by a document examiner?
Yes.
And were you involved in producing the originals for that purpose?
I was involved in some portion of it.
What portion?
There came a question as to there were some items missing from my set of original notes, and I was asked to look for them, and I did find one page at that time.
This was a page that was undated, that recounted what you had given to Mr. Yamauchi on June 15th?
Yes.
And what happened is that someone came to you from either the lab or the prosecutor's office and said, this page isn't an original. Can you find the original?
Mr. Matheson called me and asked me if I had that page.
And you went through the blue notebook in front of you,
Yes.
and you found the original for that page.
Yes.
Did anyone ask you to go through the other pages that had been produced for the defense document examiner to be sure that you had in fact produced all the originals?
No.
No one made that suggestion to you?
No.
Now, before my cross-examination ended of you, you had a conversation with the prosecutors about page 4 of that checklist.
Before your...
Page 4. Before my
Before it ended?
Yes, just at the time it ended.
Rephrase.
All right. There came a point when I asked you some questions and documents were distributed to the jury.
Yes.
All right. And there was a break and you spoke with prosecutors.
Yes.
And you went through your book.
I'm not sure if I went through the book at that time or at a subsequent break.
Well, before Mr. Goldberg got up and started asking you questions on redirect examination, had you gone through your book and identified at a page that you believed was the original of page 4?
I do remember going through it prior to Mr. Goldberg's redirect.
All right. And was there a conversation with prosecutors about this item that you'd come up with, this page 4?
Yes.
And was a decision made in your presence by the prosecutors?
Sustain. Calls for legal conclusion. Sustain.
Did you, once you identified this page that you realized was the original page 4, say to anyone, oh, there's a mistake, we should have given this document to the defense before?
Sustain.
Just a few questions about the blanket. Maybe one. In your judgment, sir, is the only way to have secondary transfer of hairs, fibers, and cellular material from the blanket that was brought to the Bundy crime scene to waive it?
Hairs, fibers, and cellular material compound.
Overruled.
Is that the only way
Yeah.
for it to transfer?
Yeah.
The most likely way is for it to have transfer through direct contact.
Now, I'm now at 23-137, line 16.
Certainly.
Line 16.
23-127.
No, 23-137.
The posture of Scheck is even condescending. He leans over and he twiddles his finger on the pen and he really thinks and looks. And he's really just in this deep thought about doing some cringe. So that is something that his entire being is like a villain. And he would be a court jester, as I said, in the king's court. He'd be a clown in some other time period. He really, and then Fung is just completely in Zen mode. He suffered for 9 days with this guy, and I have to say, he had a lot of nerve to stay calm. I liked RSV too, but the new one was a bit too flashy. Okay. And as I said, this is the last part of Scheck.
I just have it.
Hello, Lori. Has been thinking about you. And okay, well, I hope things get better. In time, I believe it'll get. Things will get situated. And thank you for checking in. We are doing fine. We're all chatting about different things, games, and our lives, and this trial, which we have a condescending Scheck right here, and we have to do in the Stan Fung that's like completely in monk mode and being unfazed by what is being thrown at him. So that is what we are up to at the moment. Thank you for checking in.
It here, and I'll just start reading. If you want. Ask this hypothetical question by Mr. Goldberg. Question. All right. Now, if hypothetically there were saliva from the defendant that had been dried on the white blanket, could that saliva somehow float down the entire crime scene and hit the rear gate and turn red? Answer, no. Question. All right. Would you expect that saliva or any biological material would contaminate the stains that you and Miss Mazzola had collected along the trail? Answer, given your hypothetical, no. You were asked those questions, gave those answers.
Not impeaching, so it's irrelevant.
It's foundational.
Yes.
Now, you were shown a photograph of the rear gate at Bundy
Yes.
that was taken on June 13th. Do you have that here?
Let me see if I can find the exhibit number.
While we're looking for it, let me just ask you some questions. You remember seeing that photograph?
Yes.
And there was a blood spot that you saw on July 3rd that was labeled 116.
Yes.
And you did not see that on the photograph, the blown-up photograph that was taken on June 13th.
This is beyond the scope, Your Honor.
Oh, well. I did not see it.
All right. And you cannot tell us from your own personal knowledge how 116 got there on July 3rd.
Not from my personal knowledge, no.
But you're certain it was not planted there by anybody.
That calls for speculation. It's argumentative.
Sustained.
Are you aware, sir, that 1.9 milliliters, or 1/4 of the blood collected from Mr. Simpson's blood
Sustained.
unaccounted for?
Assumes facts not in evidence, counsel.
Your Honor,
Not an appropriate question. The jury is to disregard the implication of that question. Proceed.
Mr. Fung, you've been listening to the testimony at this trial.
certain portions of it, yes.
You heard the opening statements.
We're not cross-examining on that, counsel.
Well, Your Honor, this is the last line, and if you want, I'll approach on it.
It assumes facts that aren't in evidence, counsel.
I'm not talking about evidence. I'm asking about his awareness of defense positions.
Not as phrased.
All right. Has it come to your attention that the defense alleges...
Your Honor, can we approach on this?
Yes, with court order. Proceed.
Do you know a Michael Stevens from the District Attorney's Office?
Beyond the scope,
Overruled.
I know someone named Mike, but I don't know if this is the person you're referring to.
Tall guy with silver hair?
Okay.
Do you know a Dana Thompson from the District Attorney's Office?
I've met Dana.
All right. You know Mr. Thompson to be a senior investigator in the District Attorney's Office?
I only know he works for the DA's office.
Has either of these gentlemen ever asked you any questions with respect to the handling of Mr. Simpson's blood vial?
beyond the scope.
Overruled.
No.
Show you this photograph 166A. Mr. Fung, where's drop
Your Honor,
116 that you saw on July 3rd?
I'll check. He's already gone into this.
Overruled.
It does not appear in the picture, however, it may be on the curved area behind it. It just doesn't appear in the picture, though.
Mm-hmm. And it may be that it got there sometime between June 13th and July 3rd. You can't
Sustained.
tell us from your own personal knowledge.
I didn't make a motion to describe.
Sustained.
No.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the morning session. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss the case amongst yourselves. Do not form any opinions about the case. Do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. We'll stand in recess until 1:30. Mr. Fung, you're ordered to return at 1:30. Thank you, counsel. Mr. Dennis Fung is again on the witness stand. The defense has concluded their recross examination, and Mr. Goldberg, you may redirect.
Good afternoon, Mr. Fung.
Good afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Fung, do you remember being asked some questions on recross about a videotape that was taken at the time of the search warrant?
Yes.
And did you, in fact, have a chance to view that videotape?
Yes.
And you said that that was when?
I viewed the videotape before I started my testimony here.
Okay, so that videotape couldn't possibly have affected your testimony here, could it, since you'd already seen it?
Sustained.
Sir,
Rephrase the question.
okay, did you ever consider changing or altering your testimony in any way based upon seeing that videotape?
No.
All right, now as to stain number 12, the one that was downstairs in the foyer, do you recall, sir, whether you collected the downstairs items in the afternoon of the 13th prior to the upstairs items?
We began downstairs
Okay.
and worked our way upstairs.
So that in that case, 12 would have been collected before 13?
Yes.
And what time was 12 collected approximately, according to the crime scene identification checklist?
According to the checklist, it was collected at 4:30.
All right. And do you recall my asking you on recross whether you were sure about whether 13 was collected before 14?
Yes.
Are you 100% sure?
Not 100% sure, no.
Which one do you think was collected first?
I think the socks in item 13 were collected first.
Before 14?
Yes.
But you can't be 100% sure?
I'm not 100% sure.
When was 14, the item in the bathroom, master bathroom, collected, that stain?
That stain was collected around 4:40.
So you're saying, I believe, that the socks were collected after 4:30, well, between 4:30 and 4:40 approximately.
In that general time frame, yes.
And as far as you are concerned, Mr. Fung, does it make the slightest bit of difference that you can figure out when they were collected within that general time frame?
No. Doesn't make any difference to me.
Would it make the slightest bit of difference that you've been able to figure out whether the socks had been collected at 4:38, 4:39, or slightly after 4:40?
No.
Now, when you viewed the videotape that we were discussing, was there in fact a shot that depicted a portion of the patterned, I guess you would call it a throw rug, in the defendant's master bedroom?
Yes.
And did you view that and compare it to still photography?
Yes.
Sir, was the area that the socks were collected from depicted in that scene?
The area where the socks were located was blocked by the bed in the video camera shot.
Was the throw rug a pattern type rug?
Yes, it was.
And did you look at the patterns on it when you did this comparison?
Yes.
Now, sir, you were asked some questions about whether you made any inquiries of people at the scene regarding any alterations of the scene. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you supposed to make any inquiries of anyone in terms of alterations?
Yes.
Who's that?
The excuse me. The detective at the scene is who I make inquiries of.
The investigating officer?
Yes.
Do you consider that to be a witness interview?
No.
Are you generally aware that police officers and detectives do witness interviews and sometimes fill out witness interview forms in LAPD?
Ground.
Beyond the scope.
Overruled.
Yes.
And in your entire career as a criminalist, can you ever recall an occasion where you did that?
I've never done that.
Where you've conducted a what you would consider a witness interview?
That's correct.
But you have made inquiries of detectives?
Yes.
Sir, you were asked some questions regarding the scoop method that you demonstrated on item number 10. Why did you use the scoop method on the witness stand for the purposes of repackaging it?
The question came up whether it could be used or not, and I used it.
Now, sir, when you looked at the seals on that item on the witness stand when Mr. Scheck showed it to you this afternoon, or this morning rather, was there a red and yellow seal? Was there a yellow seal on it?
There were yellow seals on it.
And is there a significance in LAPD to a yellow seal as opposed to a red seal?
Yes.
What is that?
A red seal is used by the person booking the evidence, and the yellow seal is used by the analyst who performs some type of examination on the evidence.
So the yellow seal indicates that it was in fact examined.
Yes.
And did you notice anything on the envelope or on the item itself which indicated that?
Yes.
What?
There were several initials on different portions of the plastic bag.
Okay, now, sir, I want to ask you about the condition of that item when you first opened it up on the witness stand and saw it. And distinguishing between the word crumpled, as in an item that's folded in on itself and kind of bunched together, and wrinkled, meaning an item that may be folded but has creases that are apparent in it. Was this... I think
Calls for speculation, maybe.
Well, this is not a big deal. I'll allow the question. The jurors have seen the item. They saw how it came out. They saw how it went back in. They saw how it came out. They saw how it went back in.
Okay.
And they've seen the photograph of it at the crime scene.
Okay. When you brought it out for the first time on the witness stand, was it crumpled?
No.
Was it wrinkled, as I've just used that term or defined it?
There were wrinkles in it.
Okay, but was it folded?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to read a portion from the from the trial transcript at page 22971. A portion of which was just read in and recrossed.
All right, give Mr. Scheck.
That's 22971, starting at line 19, to 22972, ending on line 25. Sir, at the trial, do you recall giving the following answers to the following questions? Question, Mr. Fung, do you have an independent recollection, as you sit here today, of placing the item that you received from Detective Van Adder, the envelope, into the plastic bag? Answer, not an independent recollection, no. Question, okay. And when you looked at the scene of Andrea Mazzola taking the plastic bag out of the location, was there anything that you collected between 5 o'clock and when you left with Andrea Mazzola that could have accounted for the heft in that bag other than the envelope? Answer, possibly, but it's most likely that the envelope was in that bag. Question, okay. Question, did you collect anything between 5 o'clock and the time that Ms. Mazzola and yourself left with the plastic bag that was the same approximate size and dimension of the analyzed envelope? 163. Answer. Was there anything? Question. The one in front of you. Answer. Was there anything else that we collected that was this size? Question. Yes. Answer. Is that what you are asking? Question. Yes. Answer. No. Question. Did you have any other envelopes that were that size? Answer. No. Do you recall giving those answers to that question?
Yes.
Now, as to the yes.
Thank you, counsel.
Now, sir, you were asked a number of questions about whether you've ever received any pressure from anyone from the DA's office to change your testimony in any way. Have you?
Change my answers?
Yes.
No.
And from anyone else, the crime lab or even disinterested parties?
No.
Now, sir, did you ever even consider the possibility of testifying that as to the rear gate stain, that you saw it on June the 13th?
Grounds.
I think this is, my apologies, let me hear the whole question.
That was the whole question.
Proceed.
I never considered changing my answer that I had ever seen the stain on June 13th.
Okay. And you were asked about mistakes, sir, and your willingness to own up to mistakes. If you could do something differently at the crime scene, would you like to have collected that stain on the 13th?
Yes.
Misstates the testimony. His testimony assumes a
Sustained.
fact beyond this witness's
Sustained.
comments.
Rephrase the question.
Okay. Would have you liked to have inspected the gate more carefully?
Yes.
And, sir, did you ever consider changing your testimony or testifying that as you sat there on this witness stand that you had an independent recollection about putting the item that you received from Detective Van Adder into the bag, the plastic bag?
I don't understand your question.
Okay. Did you ever consider testifying, sir, that you could remember from your own independent recollection putting the analyzed evidence envelope containing the blood into the plastic bag?
No.
Did you ever consider, sir, testifying that you looked at the socks, item number 13, carefully enough and saw blood on them?
No.
And did you ever consider testifying, sir, that you looked at the Bronco on June the 13th and saw red stains other than the one on the handle?
No.
Sir, when you were being cross-examined by Mr. Scheck, did you ever have difficulty understanding what he was getting at in his questions?
Sometimes.
And
Oh.
and when you were being cross-examined, sir, did you how did it make you feel when you were sort of being yelled at in an accusatory?
I would object and
Sustained.
choose to strike.
Sustained.
Okay.
And if we have any more reaction from the audience, I'm going to clear the audience.
Okay. Was there anything in the way that you were questioned, sir, that made it more difficult for you to understand the questions?
Yes.
And what was that?
It was a aggressive questioning style.
Okay. Did you find it easier to answer his questions this morning?
Yes.
Why?
He was much less aggressive this morning.
You consider being accused of engaging in a cover-up less aggressive?
It was the manner, not the content.
Okay. Now, sir, do you remember everything that you did, all of your activities on June the 13th of 1994?
No.
All right. Do you remember every conversation that you had with the detectives on June the 13th of 1994?
No.
Or with other people?
No.
Do you remember all of the testimony that you gave over the last 8 days during the direct cross examinations?
It's all a blur.
Well, do you remember the question when you were shown the picture of the rear gate and Mr. Scheck said, "Where is it, Mr. Fung?"
I remember that.
I was just curious. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fung. Nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Scheck.
Can we approach for just 1 minute before I start
Sure.
this?
Scheck got roasted. Where is it, Mr. Fung? And that dude had no comeback. That dude had nothing to say. That dude was speechless. He nearly laughed. He got him. He got him. He was thinking what all of us were thinking. Even people in that courtroom knew, and the people doing the trial knew what this guy was doing. What's the time, Mr. Fung? What's the weather, Mr. Fung? Is it snowing, Mr. Fung? Is the grass green, Mr. Fung?
Thank you, counsel. Proceed.
Just a few questions, sir. Mr. Fung, it's easier to testify on direct examination than cross-examination.
Yes, it is.
And you've been a witness a number of times in different cases.
Yes.
And it's always more difficult to testify on cross-examination than direct examination.
Yes.
And would you not agree, sir, that some of the difficulties you had answering the questions on cross-examination during this trial had to do with the facts?
I don't.
Sustain.
Had to
Rephrase
do
the
with
question.
reports that you wrote.
In what regard?
Contradictions in the between your testimony and reports you wrote.
I was prepared for the type of questions that Mr. Goldberg would ask, and the questions that you asked were surprise questions to me. So, of course, they would be more difficult for me to answer.
Yes, and when you viewed some of the videotape, that surprised you too.
Yes, some of it did.
And when you were testifying about a number of events for which you didn't have an independent recollection, but you were going along with suggestions of testimony on direct, that was a problem too.
Sustain. Sustain.
Did you ever have a problem when you were testifying because you were testifying to facts that you really didn't have an independent recollection about?
Overruled.
I tried the best I could to be truthful in my answers and honest.
Now, Mr. Goldberg asked you about pressure from the district attorney's office,
Yes.
and your position is you never felt any pressure from them to testify in a certain way.
They never gave me any pressure to change my answers.
Well, did they make strong suggestions to you about what your answers should be?
No.
Overruled.
Have you ever spent 10 sessions, some of them as long as 5 hours, reviewing your testimony before you testify?
Never.
And could it be, sir, that in those sessions, as you reviewed all these facts and tried to get your testimony in a way that would please the prosecutors?
I haven't heard the full question, but it sounds like it's going to be calling
All
for
right.
speculation.
In these 10 sessions, you made your best efforts to work out testimony that the prosecutors would find satisfactory.
Much of the testimony was my educating Mr. Goldberg as to our procedures and different type of circumstances that we undergo out at crime scenes.
Well, in the course of your preparation, were other people from the lab involved?
At certain portions, yes.
Michelle Kessler?
She was never present when I was speaking with Mr. Goldberg.
To your knowledge, did she have input with respect to your testimony as far as you knew?
Sustained.
She ever discussed your testimony with you before you came here?
Overruled.
She gave me pep talks and things like that, but we never discussed specifics.
Mm-hmm. What about Detective Lang?
I did have discussions with him.
All right. Detective Van Adder?
Yes.
Now, I noticed that Mr. Goldberg didn't ask you whether or not you'd felt any pressure from the detectives.
Sustained.
Well,
Rephrase the question.
did you feel any pressure from the detectives to testify in a certain way?
No pressure, no.
Was there anything about my accent that made it hard for you to answer my questions?
Not your accent, no.
Oh, okay. Was there anything about the substance of the questions that you were being asked that made it difficult, sir?
Vague. Sustained.
Now, you said that on this redirect, that it didn't make the slightest bit of difference as to whether or not you collected the socks between 4:30 and 4:40.
Not in my mind.
Well, then, why, pray tell, did you change your testimony from direct and cross about when you could have collected the socks?
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
Why, sir, did you change your testimony from what you'd stated on direct and cross-examination about the time frame when you could have collected the socks?
Overruled.
I believe that in one one question at one of the questions was I sure I had collected the evidence from one point or another, and I wasn't 100% sure which item I had collected prior to the other.
Well, on direct and cross, you indicated that you were sure.
Sustain. Rephrase the question.
Well, you answered questions about the order of collection and when you collected on direct and cross.
Yes.
And on redirect, Mr. Goldberg asked you a number of times, or twice, I should say, if you were really sure that the collection of socks happened within that period.
Overruled.
He was referring to specific times within that time frame.
Well, did you, before you came here for redirect examination, say to Mr. Goldberg, I've been thinking about it, and I may be wrong about how the time the socks were collected. Could you please raise that again on redirect? Is that what happened?
No.
It was his idea.
Sustain.
It was his request of you to think about the time of collection again.
Sustain.
Before you came and testified on redirect, did you have discussions with Mr. Goldberg or other prosecutors about whether you were really sure concerning the time you collected the socks?
It's just vague as to whether he means he has to bracket it. He doesn't have the first time.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
We have discussed the time frame of the socks, but as to the second time he asked me in recross about the socks, I don't recall discussing it prior to him asking recross
No.
socks questions.
Mr. Fung, redirect. Remember that?
Redirect.
Sustain. Come on.
Mr. Fung, direct your attention to the redirect examination.
Yes.
On redirect examination, you now said that you weren't really sure.
Yes.
And the suggestion, withdrawn, the issue of whether you were really sure was raised by the prosecutors.
Well, it's vague as to in court or out of court.
Overruled. We're talking about redirect.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was prior to those questions being asked of you.
Well, now it's vague.
That's true.
All right? That was prior to the time that you testified on redirect.
Yes.
Okay. And after they asked you if you were really sure, you told them before you got on the stand, well, I'm not that sure.
I wasn't that sure. No.
Well, wait, he's not answering the question. Motion to strike.
Overruled.
And you became unsure because you thought that's what they wanted to hear.
No, I became unsure because he was asking for a specific time within that time frame, and I just wasn't sure.
Mr. Fung, on direct examination, you were asked about the time frame between 4:30 and 4:40. You collected the socks. Right?
Yes.
His question on redirect was, could you have corrected the socks sometime different than between 4:30 and 4:40, right?
On redirect.
Yes.
Yes, he asked that.
And that's what you that's what you testified you were no longer sure about.
Yes.
And you now began testifying on redirect that you were no longer so sure of the order.
Redirect, that I was no. Yes.
And that's because the prosecutors wanted you to be unsure about the time and about the order.
That's Not true.
No further questions.
All right, so some information about Dennis Fung is that Dennis Fung was born on March 29, 1947 in Sacramento, California, United States. He was the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, criminalist who became prominent witness for the prosecution during the O.J. Simpson trial. Fung was key figure in the trial because the defense extensively cross-examined him to suggest that evidence had been contaminated due to improper collection procedures. Despite the scrutiny, he continued working for the LAPD after the criminal trial concluded, and he also testified in the subsequent civil trial. He was born, as we said that, and he passed away in October 2013. Role in the trial, testified for 9 days regarding the collection and handling of the crime scene evidence. Rest in peace to him. All right, he was extremely disciplined and stoic in the face of Scheck's nonsense. And he passed away in Oceanside, California. So Riri Cross, you're no longer sure that you were really sure about whatever was unsure. And there is extremely uncertainty about the unsure side of everything. So it's like double unsurety. Right. So yeah, Scheck is like anything you say, it's like not gonna be right, and he has to make sure it's gonna be herded in his direction. Scared. Miss C said 8 years older than him. Wow, yeah, and he was 62. Okay. All right, now continuing with the trial.
Yeah, let's see if we can get this, Mr. Fung. Now, when we were discussing, before you ever came into this courtroom to testify, about the order in which things were collected, did you tell me that the order was 12, 13, and 14?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on redirect.
Redirect, okay.
No, actually, it was redirect. I'm sorry. Okay, now on redirect, did you testify that you weren't sure whether 13 was collected after?
Okay, I'm seeing something here. I'm seeing something else that says, as of January 26, there is no official reports that Dennis Fung, the LAPD criminologist from the OJ trial, has died. So it seems like he's still alive, actually, but the other prompt said he died, so I don't know. But the recent reports from 2025 to 2026 indicate that he is still alive and has largely remained out of the public eye since his retirement from LAPD. Alright, so, as I said, so he allegedly is still alive, but this other prompt said he already passed away, so I don't know. Let's just say he's still alive until further notice. He's just remained a low profile since the trial happened. Alright. Okay. It looks like the prompt, that the previous prompt got it mixed up with another person, but so redact what I previously said before. So the Dennis Fung from the OJ trial is still alive. He just has a low profile from the trial. And the AI must have been compromised by a space yeti and didn't be specific about the Dennis Fungs it was referring to, because it put everything in one little box because of the space yetis. All right, so that is the information on Dennis Fung. And he eventually retired. And he famously declined to write books or give major interviews about his role in the trial for the century. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So, correction, he's still alive. As of right now. I was like, I had to check on that. Anyway, so now the trial will continue.
I mean, before 14.
I stated I didn't know, or I don't know what I stated at this point. I was unsure at that point.
Okay, now what Mr. Scheck was asking you is, was there a conversation that we ever had between the time that you were finished on cross-examination, okay?
Yes.
And the time that you said that you weren't sure on redirect? Was there ever a time when you told me you weren't sure?
No.
Okay, and was there ever a time that you can recall between those two times that we discussed the issue?
Not that I recall.
All right. And Mr. Fung, have you ever testified before in a case where you were on the witness stand for 8 days?
Never.
Are you going to be glad to be off?
Very.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fung, I'm going to excuse you from further testimony in this case. At this time, you're still subject to recall, however. Please don't discuss your testimony with anybody other than the lawyers. All right, you're free to go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to need to shift gears here momentarily. I'm going to ask you to step back into the jury room. Please remember all my admonitions to you, and we'll be talking with you shortly. All right? Package of reports regarding apparently hair comparisons from the FBI lab.
Oh, with Dennis Fung, he should be over after this part. And the next one, we have another witness. On April 20th. In April 20th, we have another witness. So, this is the very last part. Scared?
One counsel approach from each side, and I'll give you a copy of the reports. Yes. All right, over the lunch hour, counsel proposed to the court a procedure to go forward with the inquiry that the court has indicated that is going to make regarding jury issues. Either side wish to be heard as to the presence of the defendant issue and the manner in which the inquiry should be conducted.
Yes, I'd like to be heard just briefly, Your Honor, if I might. Certainly, we do endorse the going ahead with the jury process now, Your Honor, and doing it in a continuous manner. I think it'll be better for all parties, and I think in this regard, both the prosecution and the defense agree. The court had been kind enough in a brief conference to mention to counsel the People versus Siripongs case, Siripongs, a 1988 case. Although I have not had a chance to get the case, I do, in fact, had a chance, of course, to look at the California Criminal Law Procedure and Practice, second edition.
Which is where I found the
court
Siripongs case.
Had suggested to us. And in that case, as the court is aware, there is a statement in the second paragraph under Section 3324 that counsel and the defendant should be present at the hearing. And it goes on to indicate that in some circumstances, however, counsel may be excluded from the hearing as long as he or she is given a transcript of it. It cites People versus Siripongs. and under that paren it says defense attorney excluded at defendant's request, no constitutional violation. In this instance, what we're asking the court to do, given where we are at this point in the proceedings, after having been in trial in this matter since, I guess, September 26th, and being the 12th week or so of actual testimony, that Mr. Simpson be allowed to be present during this jury inquiry. That's all we're really asking, Your Honor. We don't think it poses any kind of security problem. We don't think there would be any effect upon the jurors as the court inquires upon them. We do not anticipate, from the defense standpoint, of asking the court to cross-examine any particular juror. In fact, without going into the procedure that we've used in the past, I would just indicate to the court that we expect to do as we've done in the past. And I think that Mr. Simpson has no objection to that. And the court has previously ruled that as regards previous jurors or non-jurors at this point, the defendant has been present. And I just think that where he does not wish to waive his being present, that the court should allow him to be present. I think that if the Circus case, I guess, stands for anything, counsel can be excluded, but it doesn't say the defendant can be excluded. And I don't plan to waive my presence at this point either, Your Honor. Perhaps I think the court has set some rules regarding the number of attorneys, and we have no problem with that. I think the court has said that you may limit the number of attorneys who may be present during these proceedings. But I just think that we can get on with this and get it done in a timely and appropriate fashion. It's been conducted quite well before. I just think this is not a matter that for a public hearing, but I think that the defendant, who has the most to lose in this entire thing, is entitled to a fair trial, and it certainly would impinge upon his constitutional rights to be present if we have to then go back and try to translate for him what took place at these hearings. And that's how I think we really got to this point, Your Honor. So I'd respectfully ask the court to set up a procedure that the court feels is appropriate, whereby he can be present during these hearings, and we'll conduct it in the same way as we've done the other hearings back in chambers. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. People?
Yes, Your Honor, I read the case law submitted by the defense, People v. Garcia. The problem with that case law that they have submitted is that there is nothing in which it is stated explicitly that the defendant has an independent right to be present. The case really addresses the issue as to whether or not the court should properly address jury issues outside the presence of any of the lawyers or the defendant. And it says that, no, the defense has the right to be represented at such a hearing or at any contact with the jury that the judge may have, but it did not specify that it had to include the defendant. Nor have any of the cases we have found indicated that there is any such right. And to the contrary, as the court has pointed out, People v. Siripongi, also People v. Medina, 51 Cal 3rd 870, and People v. Freeman, 8 Cal 4th 450, both of which do address the defendant's right to be present at various chambers conferences, make clear that the defendant does not always have the right to be present at every chambers conference or chambers issue. With respect to these issues, they are of such confidential nature that they do need to be conducted in chambers, which poses a very obvious problem with respect to having the defendant present. And there are also concerns with the ability of the jurors to be as forthright as they possibly can. The more we create an open hearing in which there will be many people present and the more people in the audience and the bigger the setting in terms of having to be in the courtroom, I think the more of a chilling effect we produce on the jurors, and the less encouraged they are to be completely candid with us about what is going on. So in order to encourage candor, in order to encourage the kind of openness that will allow the court to make a thorough and fair investigation, I think that it is in the best interest in a search for the truth and a fair trial to have this in chambers.
Just briefly, I might respond, Your Honor. I would just, and I neglected to mention this before, I think also that Penal Code Section 1120 is somewhat instructive when it talks about where it requires a juror, quote, must be sworn as a witness and examined in the presence of the parties. And again, I always come back to the fact that Mr. Simpson is the party here. That statute was subsequently amended in 1965. I think the reason why we cited to the court the People v. Garcia case, the 1984 case, holding that a defendant's right to be present protected by the fundamental constitutional right to the assistance of counsel at all critical stages of the proceeding. If one takes that, Your Honor, this is a critical stage of the proceeding because what the court finds out here is very important, I think, to all of us. And I think that's why the court is doing this now. I think in response to what Ms. Clark has said, that I don't think it's chilling at all with the defendant present. It doesn't make it, if the court has a certain number of counsel on each side, and the defendant is not going to make the jurors less candid because Mr. Simpson is here. After all, this case is about the people versus O.J. Simpson. And I'm reminded of the time when we first started picking the jury in this matter. The court will recall we were up on the 11th floor. And we were in a little tiny room, if the court will recall, when we first started screening jurors. And Mr. Simpson was at the table. In fact, Ms. Clark and I sat side by side, and Mr. Simpson was down at one end. The jurors sat at one end, and the court will recall that, and the bailiffs were all there. And I think the people were very candid right from the beginning. That's how this court has conducted this matter at times at critical stages of the proceeding where Mr. Simpson should be present. And that's all we're saying, that why err in this regard? I think that this is a time he has a right to be present. It poses no security problems, and I think that I'm not suggesting we put the jurors on the witness stand, but wherever they feel comfortable. We can close it in or however you want to do it, as we've done in the past. I think that this is somewhat unique, and what's happened is there is a dearth of legal opinions in this regard because you'll have to search far and wide before you'll find this kind of proceeding where we're this far into trial where we have an issue like this arising regarding jurors, where we have to go and talk to all the jurors. So there's not a lot of cases. As we have proven so many times, Your Honor, it's this particular case that has caused a lot of issues that people haven't dealt with in the past. What I found is that when you have something unique, it does require us to be careful. It does require us to keep in mind why we're here, and does require us to protect all of the rights. And all we're asking you to do is to protect Mr. Simpson's rights in that regard. And I think that 1120, Garcia, even Sirpongi. I mean, I think that it doesn't say that the defendant can't be present. It talks about the lawyer being waived. So I think that where he wants to be present, I think he has a right to be present, and I think the reasons for him not being present are not persuasive. And I would ask the court to consider this, and let's move on and let's try and resolve this matter in the course of the next day or so. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, counsel.
I'm sorry, I don't want to. I just want to straighten out one misconception that perhaps has been created. I don't feel necessarily that Mr. Simpson's presence is going to have a chilling effect. I feel that the setting that we will be forced to be in and the number of people that will be forced to be present will be the problem and produce the more chilling effect. It's clear that when we have a more intimate setting where there are fewer people, that we can expect a little more candor, and the jurors will feel more secure and more calm, and that's what we want to encourage. And that was my point, Your Honor. And moreover, the case law makes it very clear that the defendant is entitled to be represented, and he has very able representation, and his lawyers will fight very vigorously in his behalf, as they always have, and they will continue to do. And his rights will be fully protected by their presence in chambers at any conference that may be conducted. And I think that that's what the court has to look at in terms of what is required, and that will certainly be observed by this court.
All right. Thank you, counsel. All right. I don't find Penal Code Section 1120 to be controlling in this particular issue. And the 1988 California Supreme Court opinion, People versus Sirpongs at 45 Cal 3rd, 548, and specifically the text that begins at page 570, and the discussion on 571 and 572 does directly address this issue. The matter will be addressed by the court in chambers out of the presence of the defendant. All right, we'll take a 20-minute recess, and we'll start with the inquiry. All right. And let me ask Ms. Clark, as far as we have 18 jurors to talk to, my guess is we'll be at this certainly the balance of today and probably the balance of tomorrow, is my guess, since we have 18 people to talk to, perhaps 20 minutes, 30 minutes apiece, depending on where it leads us.
I really think that's a fair estimate.
All right, then my guess is that as far as the presentation of testimony and Ms. Mazzola is concerned, we probably ought to then stand in recess, today being the 18th, until the 20th.
Resume with testimony on 20th.
All right, does that cause any scheduling problems?
I mean, the lawyers should be handling the next witness. It will not cause a scheduling problem.
All right, this was your suggestion, Mr. Cochran.
I'm not cross-examining Mr. Goldberg. No problem.
All right, then as far as the presentation of evidence is concerned, then we'll stand in recess until the 9 a.m. April 20. All right, thank you, counsel. Yes? No. Tell me about it. All right, thank you, counsel. All right, let the record reflect that we have been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, the people may call their next witness.
Please call Andrea Mazzola to the stand.
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the talk now being with this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Please have a seat in the witness stand and please spell your first and last names for the record.
Andrea Mazzola, Andrea Mazzola.
All right, Mr. Goldberg.
Good morning, Ms. Mazzola.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Mazzola, directing your attention to the date of June the 13th of 1994, did you participate in some evidence collection with Dennis Fung at the location of 360?
All right, Mr. Goldberg.
Good morning, Ms. Mazzola.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Mazzola, directing your attention to the date of June the 13th of 1994, did you participate in some evidence collection with Dennis Fung at the location of 360 North Rockingham and 875 Bundy in Los Angeles?
Yes, I did.
And on the 14th, did you also participate in some collection at the a Bronco in the print shed?
Yes, I did.
Now, before getting into those matters, I'd like to ask you a little bit about your training and your experience. First of all, what is your job title?
Criminalist 1.
And a criminalist is?
We work in the crime lab, collection, preservation of evidence, and analyzing the evidence, testifying as an expert witness in court.
Okay, and is part of your job description as a criminalist that you actually have to analyze evidence?
Yes, it is.
As part of analyzing evidence, do you generate analyzed evidence reports?
Yes, we do.
And then as part of your job description, are you also required to testify in court as an expert witness?
Yes, we are.
Was that true when you were first hired with the Los Angeles Police Department as a criminalist 1?
Yes, it was.
Now, before you became a criminalist 1 at the Los Angeles Police Department, did you have some formal training in school?
Yes, I did.
And what degree do you hold?
I hold a Bachelor of Science in Forensic Science.
And where is that from?
California State University, Sacramento.
Before you were allowed to take courses that were specific to forensic science, did you have to take general background science courses?
Yes.
And what kinds of courses did you take that were general background science courses before you got into the specifics of forensic science?
We had to take general chemistry, organic chemistry, qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis, chemistry. Biochemistry, we had to take some biology courses such as anatomy, genetics, basic biology.
Did you take microbiology?
Yes, I did.
Organic chemistry?
Right.
All right. And after you were finished with taking these various general science courses, did you then take some courses that were specific to the area of criminalistics?
Yes.
Approximately how many courses did you take in school that were specific to the area of criminalistics?
It was approximately 5.
Was one of those courses a trace analysis course?
Yes, it was.
And what did that involve?
It involved the analyzing of trace evidence such as hair, fiber, minute glass particles, extremely small pieces of evidence.
Did you do any serology in that course?
We did a basic ABO blood typing experiment.
Okay, and what is serology? If you could just give us a general definition.
Serology deals with the analyzation of bodily fluids.
Okay. Now, did this professor that taught you in the trace analysis course use any particular technique to impress on you the importance of maintaining control of your evidence?
Yes. If he thought that we were not maintaining control over our evidence, if he thought we were leaving it out on the bench top, he would confiscate the evidence. And since the evidence was your unknown, you had to buy it back with points. And each report was only worth 50 points to begin with. So if you lost 20 points buying your evidence, you more or less couldn't pass that one section.
Did you lose any points during this course as a result of not maintaining control of your evidence?
No.
All right. And did this technique that the professor used seem to work in impressing on you?
It worked extremely well.
Okay. Now, as a student, when you were there at the California State University, did you participate with other students in starting any organizations in the area of criminalistics?
Yes. Since forensic science was such a small major, we wanted to try to bring more people into the area, at least let them become familiar with it. So we started an organization which became recognized by the university to promote forensic science, to give people an idea of what it was.
Okay. Did you also begin attending meetings as a student of the California Association of Criminalists?
Yes.
And what is that association?
It's an organization of criminalists, people in the field. They attend meetings, seminars, classes to gain more information in the field, to share ideas, new techniques.
Okay. And when you graduated from the California State University, did you begin working at a law enforcement agency?
Yes, I did.
Criminalist? What agency was that?
It was the Kern County District Attorney's Office Crime Lab in Bakersfield.
And what was your job title there when you began with the Kern County District Attorney's Office in their crime lab?
I was a criminalist.
What were you doing in the crime lab?
I was assigned to the toxicology unit.
And toxicology is what?
It's the analysis of blood and urine for drugs of abuse.
So you are dealing with biological specimens in toxicology?
Right.
Now, how long were you at the Kern County District Attorney's Office Crime Lab?
It's approximately 18 months.
And when you were there working in toxicology, was there anything that you learned in terms of handling biological specimens and avoiding cross-contamination that would be relevant towards processing a crime scene?
Well, anytime you're working with biologicals or any evidence, you have to be careful of cross-contamination. You only work on one item or one sample at a time. You never have two items open at the same time. You are very careful about the utensils you use, whether it's pipettes, which are usually disposable, or tweezers or scissors, anything.
Okay. And when you were there at the Kern County District Attorney's Office Crime Lab, did you have the opportunity to see what other criminalists were doing in areas that were not involved with toxicology?
Yes.
So did you sort of get an overview of different areas of criminalistics while you were there?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever have the opportunity of seeing people at the Kern County Crime Lab, the criminalists, processing bloody clothing or clothing from rape cases that might contain biological evidence?
Yes, I did.
While you were there, did you join any other organizations that are involved in the area of criminalistics?
Well, I joined the American Academy of Forensic Sciences.
And what is the American Academy of Forensic Sciences? as opposed to the California Association of Criminalists?
They're similar in that they're both organizations dealing with the area of criminalistics, forensic science, the law. The American Academy takes a wider view. We have people who are in the law, we have dentists. There are different sections dealing with the different professions.
Okay. Did you also join the California Association of Criminalists?
Yes, I joined as a member.
Okay. Was that in the same time frame?
Yes, it was.
And you were there for, you said, 18 months?
Yes.
Now, after you left the Kern County District Attorney's Office crime lab, where did you go?
I started looking for another job.
And did you find employment as a criminalist?
I found employment as a toxicologist in a private lab.
And what was that lab?
Valley Toxicology.
So as a toxicologist, were you doing the same thing that you were doing when you were working in the Kern County toxicology section?
Yes.
And you were doing the actual, what, is it a chemical analysis or a physical analysis of the biological specimens?
It's more of a chemical analysis.
Okay. Are you testing for anything other than drugs?
No, just drugs.
Okay. When were you at this toxicology, Valley Toxicology? What were the dates that you were there?
Oh, let's see. Let me check my... It's approximately May of '93 to about the middle of December of '93.
And after you left Valley Toxicology, where did you go?
I was offered a position with LAPD.
When did you start with LAPD?
January 24th, 1994.
Okay. And when you were you hired alone, or were there other people that were hired in the same group?
There were 3 other people who were hired approximately the same time as I was.
Now, in approximately April of 1994, did you go through a mini academy?
Yes.
Hello there, Aaron. Good evening to you. Hope you had a good day.
And what did that involve?
It involved showing us the way that the LAPD crime lab collects their evidence, the different sections, what they had to offer us, what they had available to help us at a crime scene, or analyzing the evidence once we got back to the lab.
Did they teach you how to physically pick up evidence and collect evidence at a crime scene?
Yes.
Did they teach you how to collect bodily fluids?
Yes, they did.
And how was that done? Was that a theoretical instruction or a practical, or a combination?
It was a combination. They first told us why they do it this way, why they need to pick up, be it blood or whatever. Then we had practical hands-on, where we would actually pick up the blood from different substrates, concrete, carpet, stone.
So were these mock crime scenes, or what were they when you were picking up this blood in the mini academy?
It really wasn't like a mock crime scene. They just had the blood on the different substrates that we would tend to run into out in the real world. So we would have hands-on experience on how to manipulate the stain, how to collect it, preserve it, to learn, to be careful about contamination.
Did they also teach you other techniques such as tool marks, dust prints, shoe prints, and the
Right.
like? Right. Now, how difficult was it for you to learn how to pick up blood, biological evidence?
It's not hard at all.
Okay. And as a criminalist, when you start as a criminalist 1, are you expected to go out to crime scenes and pick up evidence?
We are expected to accompany the more experienced criminalists when we can. We watch them, the way they process scenes. We are allowed to pick up evidence under their supervision. It gives us more training under supervision.
How long are you a criminalist 1 before you can become a criminalist 2?
We're criminalist 1 for a year and a half.
Okay. Now, is there some aspect in which, even though you're a criminalist 1 and you've been taught how to do these how to physically collect the evidence, is there some aspect in which you're still being trained in crime scene investigation during that 18 months?
In that period, it's more like we were being trained in the discretionary area to go to a crime scene, to look at it, to decide what is evidence, what we can pick up that would be of value, what can be analyzed back at the lab. That's the part that we were being trained in as criminalist 1s.
Well, are you still being trained in the physical part of how you actually physically pick up a shoe print or how you physically pick up a piece of biological evidence?
To a certain extent, for the most part, we are trained in the technical area. It's the discretionary area, making the decisions that we are in the process of learning.
What all does this discretionary area involve in terms of being a criminalist? Is it just what to pick up and what not to pick up?
Well, also it involves dealing with the people you'll find at the scene, the detectives, the coroner's people, determining what is viable evidence versus what is really not part of the scene.
When you're at a scene, do you simply just pick up anything and everything that happens to be in the area or within a certain diameter of the bodies in the case of a murder? How do you go about making that kind of a decision?
That again is the discretionary area. You have to look at the whole scene, try to get an idea of what could have happened, and start looking for items that could be connected. It's better to pick up a little more than not enough.
Is there any problem with just indiscriminately collecting everything that you see?
Yes, because you'll spend all your time picking up every single little bit of paper or whatever, and you're not adding towards figuring out what happened. You're adding a lot of garbage is what it is.
And is it this area in which during the 18 months you are still being trained in terms of how to evaluate a crime scene, how to make this kind of decision?
Yes, that's the area.
Now, prior to the work that you did on June the 13th, had you actually gone out on crime scenes and seen other people collect evidence and collect some evidence yourself?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you listed the number of crime scenes, do you distinguish between a crime scene and a car search?
I did. Some people don't, but at that point I did.
Okay, so some people put the two of them together?
Right.
All right. And with respect to your first crime scene, did you actually pick up any evidence at that crime scene?
Yes, under supervision.
And was there any biological evidence that was involved in that first crime scene?
There was a lot of biological evidence.
Can you give us just a guesstimate as to how many stains? I mean, are we talking about less than a dozen or more than a dozen?
More than a dozen.
Did you pick up some of those stains yourself?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you processed that first crime scene, did you get any feedback in terms of how you done?
We, the people that were processing the scene, were given a commendation for the scene.
So this was your first crime scene and you received a commendation for it?
Right.
And was that presented to you in an award ceremony?
They mentioned it at our annual luncheon. They read the commendations.
Okay. Now, did you also process another crime scene after this and before June the 13th that had biological evidence in it?
Yes.
And did that have multiple stains as well?
Yes, it did.
Did you pick up those stains?
Yes, I did.
All right. So Aaron asked, so did you watch the whole testimony? Because, okay. Aaron, are you on a ferry? Okay. So there is a diverse opinions about her. I think the testimony, she remained calm on the stand, and different information was coming out about it. And some people think that she, was an accomplice and was wrong. Some people think that she shouldn't take the plea deal and try to get out of it some kind of a way. So yeah, some people, like the chat, had a diverse opinion about her, like I said before. And oh, yeah, I know the chat was divided. I know. What is all that about? That's news to us. I've never seen that before. So anyway, yeah, and there wasn't I feel that it was done correctly on both sides, and she said her take on it. It wasn't high emotions on either side. Judge Penny's a very good judge, and she doesn't put up with nonsense, but she's very kind about it. So, yeah, I am watching it, and I watched the whole thing, but I'm continuing to watch it and develop my opinion as I go along. But yeah, it was just, as usual, it was a divided opinion, and she would go back to her country in Brazil as part of the plea deal for pleading guilty. And there's no really way of getting out of it, but she can have the charges thrown out, which I believe it was said earlier that the charges were thrown out. Something was thrown out earlier, but I could be wrong about that. I may have misread it. So yeah, if the judge throws it out, then it's different, but usually if someone pleads guilty in that area, then no, she has to go with whatever the plea was. And Milky said the nanny shot the dude, she should go to prison. Right. If somebody does a crime, they should do the time as it said. And not just get off the hook that way, and especially if they're going to hurt other people. Right. Definitely should stay in the U.S. prisons. Yeah. Or not really that nice. So yeah, she would probably should do the time that she's supposed to do. Right. But she was going to take this deal to go against the defendant to get herself off the hook. He seems so dweeby. How he got to women blows my mind. Total beta. The trial today, in the nanny trial, with Judge Penny. Yeah, so that is the chat with a diverse opinion about if she should be sent back to her country, or if she should just go to prison and suffer the consequences for her actions. Right.
Were there any other crime scenes that you participated in before June the 13th that had biological evidence that you physically participated in collecting?
There was one that had biological evidence, but the collection procedure was not the procedures used on the other scenes.
Okay, now was that a car search or?
Right, this was a car search.
Okay, and you said that you do make a distinction between those?
I do.
But there was one car search that you were involved in that also had biological evidence?
Correct.
Now, after June the 13th, did you, and before today's date, did you participate in any more crime scenes that had biological evidence that needed to be collected?
Yes.
And can you give us an approximate number?
Of scenes?
Yeah. And include car searches.
Oh, okay. For biologicals, there were 2 actual scenes.
Okay.
Scenes.
Now, at the crime lab, the Los Angeles Police Department crime lab, do they have a position that's known as criminalist trainee?
No.
Is that any kind of an official word that's used,
No.
trainee? All right. But as you said, there is, to some extent, you are being trained in crime scene processing and investigation.
Correct.
As a criminalist one. At the crime scenes the crime scenes that you participated in June the 13th and also on the 14th in the Bronco, if we divide the work of a criminalist up the way that you've suggested into the mental and discretionary type components and the physical collection components.
Overruled.
Who was responsible for the mental or the discretionary type components?
That is the criminalist 3 area.
Okay. Now, going back to a second to this mini academy, when you were going through the mini academy, do they actually teach you specifically what the people in serology are going to do with the evidence after you've collected it in the case of biological evidence?
Not specifically, no.
Okay. And do they train you actually how to do DNA tests?
No.
So are they training you the physical collection procedures?
That's correct.
Now, I'd like to direct your attention back to the date of June the 13th of 1994. At some point in the early morning, did you receive a telephone call that awakened you?
I was already awake,
Okay.
but I did get the call.
And what time was that?
It was approximately 5:25 in the morning.
All right. And did that call notify you that you were to respond to a crime scene?
Yes.
Now, are all criminalists at the laboratory expected to respond to crime scenes?
We are all put on a rotation.
And how often are you on this rotation, approximately?
Approximately 3 months. Every 3 months we come up.
And for what length of a period of time are you on call? Every 3 months.
Sometimes we are on call for a week. We take the evening calls at night. Sometimes we are assigned to the weekend, and that's 24 hours a day.
So on this particular occasion on June 13th, did this simply happen to be the occasion that you were on call?
Yes, it was.
What did you have to do after you got this call notifying you that you needed to respond to a crime scene?
I called my criminalist 3, Mr. Fung, and informed him that we had a scene and we were to meet at the laboratory.
And was he also on call?
Yes.
For what purpose did you need to meet at the laboratory?
We needed to meet there to pick up the crime scene truck.
And did you do so?
Yes.
And did you then drive in the truck to the location, to the Rockingham location?
Yes.
Now, while you were going to the Rockingham location in the truck, was there any conversation with respect to filling out the crime scene identification checklist, the officer in charge?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to take a look at People's 161 for identification.
One, please.
Ms. Mazzillo, is the resolution on your screen good enough so that you can...
Not really.
Maybe we can just focus in on the area that says OIC name. Okay. Now you need to pull the paper a little bit over to the right. All right. Now can you recognize this?
Right.
All right. And did you, is this your handwriting?
Yes, it is.
And your name is where it says officer in charge?
Correct.
What was the conversation that you had with respect to filling out that portion of this form?
Objection is to the Surrey remarks of anyone else on the truck.
What's the basis?
Sorry. Objection is to the hearsay remarks of anyone else on the
Sustained.
truck.
As to what?
Sustained. Hearsay as to what the discussion was.
Okay. Well, it's not coming in for the truth of the matter, Your Honor.
Excuse me, sustained, still sustained.
Okay. But at any rate, you put your name was put in that location.
Correct.
And without telling us what the conversation was, there was some conversation about it.
Right.
Okay. Now, after you actually got to the location, did you continue to be or were you the officer in charge after you got to the Rockingham location?
Once we found out what was all involved, I was not the officer in charge.
All right. And who became the officer in charge?
Mr. Fung.
Now, what are the functions of the officer in charge as opposed to the person assisting him or her?
The officer in charge, number one, talks to the detectives to try to get an idea of what is going on. They make the discretionary calls as to what to pick up as evidence. They interact with the people at the scene, whether it's the detectives, police officers, coroner's officials.
Who directs the other SID people, like print people and photography people?
That's the officer in charge.
Now, did you perform those functions at the Rockingham or Bundy locations?
No.
I'd next like to take a look at People's 189. For identification. Now, with respect to People's 189 for identification, when was this document filled out?
Part of that...
Foundation, we don't even know who filled it out first.
Sustained, rephrase the question.
What? Okay, is this your handwriting?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and when was this filled out?
Part of it was filled out the morning of the 13th.
Was that shortly after you arrived at Rockingham?
Yes.
Sustained.
When was that?
Shortly after we arrived at the Rockingham location.
Okay. And did you have any conversation with respect to how this form was going to be filled out that you can remember?
No, not really.
Okay. Was this a matter of consequence in your mind?
No.
All right, for the record, People's 189 is the vehicle search checklist.
Now, thank you. That's fine. By the way, did you do any searching of the interior of the Bronco at any time on the 13th, or was that done at some later time?
That was done at a later time.
Right. Now, shortly after you arrived at the Rockingham location, did you have any conversations with any detectives who gave you a walkthrough of the location?
I personally did not talk to any of the detectives.
Were you present when that happened?
Yes.
And without telling us what was said, what happened?
They showed us some things that they were interested in, they wanted us to take a look at.
Was that just a general walkthrough?
At first it was the Bronco, and after there were some other items they wanted us to take a look at.
Do you recall who the detective was that did that, the detectives?
I personally don't.
Okay. Now, did you physically collect some of the stains that were located at the Rockingham location that morning, the morning of the 13th?
Yes.
And did Mr. Fung participate physically in the collection of some of those stains?
Yes, he did.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to take a look at the demonstration board. It's People's 162
Yes.
for identification. I don't know whether you can see this, Ms. Mazzola.
I have an idea what's on it.
Okay. Using this demonstration board, can you describe for us, starting with the first cell on People's 162, excuse me a second, the steps that are involved in collecting a stain?
I mean,
Yeah, maybe we can see that. Can we see that cell?
All right, Ms. Mazzola, can you see it on your monitor here?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yes, that shows 2 spots, blood spots, that are numbered.
All right, and is the first phase in this collection stated on the board the numbering and measuring phase?
Yes, it is.
And is there a documentation aspect to that phase as well?
The location, measurements, the photo ID numbers, and a brief description are noted on the evidence collection sheet.
Right, and are the items also photographed before
Yes,
they're
they are.
collected? So all of that occurs prior to the physical collection?
Yes.
Okay, now directing your attention to cell number 2 that says dampen swatch. What's involved in this stage of the collection procedure?
A small cloth swatch of the approximate size you need is selected with a pair of clean tweezers. A drop of distilled water is put on the swatch. It's then shaken, so any excess water is shaken off.
And directing your attention now to cell number 3 that says collect substrate control. What is done in this phase of the collection procedure?
The cloth swatch is placed on the substrate, say concrete or whatever, as close to the stain as possible, but without getting it in the stain, is to get a background control of what the sample is on.
What does the term substrate mean?
That is just the substance that the item of interest is on.
So if the item of interest, for example, instead of being on a walkway, were on a wall, what would be the substrate?
The wall would be the substrate.
Or if it were on clothing, what would be the substrate?
The clothing.
What is the purpose of taking this control that's near the stain but not on the stain?
Well, this can be used for 2 factors. One is to provide a background, what the sample was on, so when they go to run the tests on the sample, they can see if the background itself would interfere with the tests. The control can also be checked for DNA or other items of interest to see if any contamination took place.
Now, this control is basically just a blank swatch that has water on it that's put on the concrete in this example.
Correct.
So do you handle this piece of evidence or this piece of swatch exactly the same way that you would handle a swatch that was actually put on the stain?
It's handled the same way.
Why is it that you use the identical handling procedures for the substrate control that you would use for a swatch that was actually put on the stain?
Because you want them to be as identical as possible. The only difference being one will contain the item of interest, the other won't.
Okay. Now, directing your attention to cell number 4 on People's 162 for identification. What phase of the collection procedure is shown here?
It looks like the cloth swatch is being placed into a small plastic envelope, small plastic bag. The control is placed in one bag.
Okay. And now direct your attention to cell number 5 that says clean tweezers. Excuse me?
That was Mr. Fairfield speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now direct your attention to cell number 5 that says clean tweezers on our demonstration.
Yes, after the control is taken, the tweezers are cleaned with distilled water and a Kim wipe, which is like a laboratory Kleenex.
Okay. And now directing your attention to cell number 6, which states on our board, take new swatch, then dampen it. What does this phase of the collection procedure involve?
Okay, our swatches are stored in plastic tubes, so you have to take a small selection of them out of the tube without handling them. Then you can select the correct size that you need. So that is what's being shown.
How do you decide which size to take?
It depends on the size of the stain. You want to select a size swatch that is small enough that so when you apply it to the stain, you would get it as concentrated as possible.
Now, in this particular photograph, it's kind of hard for me to see that there are actually swatches in that little bottle, but is that what you're saying? The swatches come from that bottle?
That's right.
Okay. Now, let's take a look at cell number 7. It says collect stain, and number card removed is in parentheses. What are you doing here?
That would be the actual collection of the stain.
And did you have to dampen the swatch
right, it's
before
the same as with the control. Dampen the swatch, shake off the excess water, then you apply the swatch to the stain.
And finally, taking a look at cell number 8 that says package stain in same envelope with substrate control. What's involved in this procedure?
The swatch with the stain is placed in a separate plastic envelope. Both the control and the swatch with the item you're interested in are placed in the same coin envelope with the item number written on the outside.
All right. Now, when you're, thank you. Now, when you're collecting one of these stains, do you collect one stain at a time?
Yes.
And I want to ask you some questions about different things that could happen when you're collecting a stain. Do you ever drop the tweezers while you're doing that?
That can happen.
What happens if you do that?
You clean them all over again.
When you're taking a swatch that actually has blood on it, do you ever drop that bloody swatch?
That's never happened to me.
Okay. When you're pouring the, maybe pouring's not the right word, but when you're taking some of those little swatches out of the container, the little pill bottle, do those swatches ever fall?
They do occasionally, yes.
What do you do with those swatches?
I don't use them.
Could you use them as substrate controls?
You could,
But you do not do that?
but I personally don't do that.
So you just throw them away?
Right.
When you're picking up a swatch, do any of the swatches ever stick together?
That happens sometimes.
Okay, what do you do in that kind of instance?
If you're taking either the control or the actual item, you can use both swatches.
Okay, but what if you have two swatches stuck together? Do you try to separate them, or is it possible that you could apply both of them to the stain at the same time without knowing it?
You can tell if two of them are stuck together. You separate them, and you use one swatch at a time, either to pick up the control or to pick up the stain itself.
And what about the labeling of the coin envelopes? Have you ever mislabeled one of those by writing the wrong item number?
No.
Okay. When are the envelopes labeled in relationship to when the collection takes place?
The
Before?
envelopes are labeled before.
Okay. So do you put if you're collecting stain number 5, for example, in our demonstration, you're going to put that in an envelope that's labeled what?
Number 5.
And that would be done before you moved on to number 6?
Right.
Now, when you were at the Rockingham location, did you place your initials on all the coin envelopes as you were collecting them?
At the time I thought I did. Looking back, I apparently didn't.
And do you recall testifying at what we've been referring to, or sometimes referred to as a Griffin hearing, on August 23rd, I believe, of 1994?
I remember testifying at the Griffin hearing.
Okay. And in that, when you were testifying at that hearing at that time, did you believe that you had put all of your initials, or your initials, on all of the items that you collected on the 13th?
At that time, I believed I had.
And did you since learn that you did not?
Right.
Sustained. Fred's question.
Okay. Did you since look at photographs of some of the items collected?
Yes.
And have you learned that you did not?
I learned I had not.
On the other scenes that you had processed...
I'm sorry, I would object and ask move to strike the last answer. It's conclusory as opposed to testifying.
Oral.
Now, on the other other scenes that you had collected stains on prior to the 13th, had you initialed on those occasions?
Yes.
And why wasn't that done here at the scene?
I was told that there were only 2 of us that would be...
Sustained.
Okay, without telling us what was said, was there a conversation about this?
Yes.
And after the conversation, was there some conclusion that was arrived at?
Yes.
And what was the conclusion?
Objection.
What's the basis?
Here, say again.
Oral.
There were only going to be 2 of us at the scenes collecting evidence. We were working as a team, so it really didn't matter if our initials were on the envelope since we were working as a team.
Now, as to the crime scene identification checklist that we talked a little bit about, when you testified at the Griffin hearing, what was your understanding of how that checklist was supposed to be used?
At the time, I thought that everything had to be filled out. The other scenes that I had gone on, they had filled out the checklist.
Okay. Maybe we can see a portion. I think it's 1107. Take a look at the last page of the exhibit. It's 1107 for identification.
All right, Mr. Farrell, what page number is that? They're numbered at the top.
This is page 2 of 2.
I don't think it has a number. It's the one that has 17, 18, and 19.
All right.
Or 18, 17, and 19. Is this the form that you use out in the field when you're collecting evidence?
Yes.
It's a little blurry there. Okay, now, prior to testifying at the Griffin hearing, did you believe that every single box in every single column needed to be filled out?
Yes.
And as a result of your training and experience after the Griffin hearing, did you learn something different?
I learned that this is a general guideline for us. Some of the boxes really don't apply to us at the scene.
When did you learn that?
So right after I testified at the Griffin hearing.
And got back to the laboratory.
Right.
Okay. With respect to the time column, have you noticed now, based upon the experience that you have to date, that different criminalists in the Los Angeles Police Department have different practices with respect to how they fill out that column?
Yes.
And how is that used?
Some fill out every single individual time that something is collected. Others put a starting time that they start collecting evidence and an ending time when they stop. Everything that is collected while you're at the scene. So it happens between those two times.
And then are there some people that use what I guess you might call an intermediate type usage of that time column and put in some times as you did on the 13th?
Right.
Sustained.
Are there some people?
Scheck can rephrase the question.
Are there some people that use an intermediate technique?
Yes.
All right. Now, getting back to the collection of the evidence at Rockingham, perhaps we can take a look at People's 120 for identification. It's the board of Rockingham, the outside stains. Now, with respect to People's 120 for identification, do you recognize what's depicted here?
It's
Can you
not
see this?
showing them.
Well, it's not going to be on the monitor.
Oh.
Maybe you can just step down for a moment and take a look at this. And are these photographs that depict various items that you participated in collecting on the 13th at Rockingham?
Objection.
Overruled.
And we have to stop right
Overruled.
Now, when you were doing the physical collection on these, do you recall what order they were done in? Were they done in numerical order?
For the most part, yes.
And would that mean that you started with the stains that are down towards the gate?
The first stain that was collected was on the door of the Bronco.
Do you know who physically collected that?
I know that physically collected.
Now, did you then begin with...
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I couldn't
Just-
read it.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me.
I was the one who collected the one on the Bronco.
Now, with respect to the stains that are leading from the Bronco into the driveway area, did you and Dennis Fung physically collect those?
Objection as to her and Dennis Fung.
Overruled.
Yes.
Okay, now, can you tell us, when you first started the collection, can you be more specific as to who was doing what in terms of the physical collection?
As I said, I was the one that collected the stain off the Bronco, and Mr. Fung collected the stain on the street. When we got to the driveway, He did, I believe it was like the first 2 stains, and I took over from there and was the one physically collecting the rest.
With respect to the other stains, do you have a recollection of whether he physically participated in collecting any of those?
He was present for some.
So at the beginning of the stains, he was doing more of the physical collection, and then towards the end, less.
Right.
And with respect to the first phase of the collection procedure, the documentation, the numbering, and the measuring phase, how did the two of you work together to accomplish that?
We worked as a team.
Now, with respect to the stains at the end of the outdoor area, stain number 7 and stain number 8, do you recall where Dennis Fung was around the time that those were collected?
At first, he was not present, but as I kept working, he came up.
Do you recall whether anyone else was present at the time those stains were collected in the
Yes,
immediate area?
There was someone in the immediate area.
Who was that?
Mr. Steve Johnson.
Who's he?
He is the assistant lab director.
Do you know where Dennis Fung was at the time that he was not present,
No, I
or
don't.
where he went? But he went somewhere and then at some point came back.
Correct.
Now, with respect to the stains at the Rockingham location, was every single last stain collected, or were there some that were not collected?
There were some that were not collected.
And what is your training with respect to the need to collect every stain as opposed to less than all the stains?
Well, on a trail, you want to get a representative sample. You want to get the first few stains. You want to pick up the last few stains. The ones in between, as long as they appear to be going in the general direction, there was nothing out of the ordinary with them. Not every single stain has to be collected.
And is that the technique that you and Mr. Fung used with respect to collecting these stains? All right. You can, I want to ask you some questions that you may have to refer to your crime scene identification checklist for, so you can resume the stand.
All right, Mr. Goldberg, are you going to refer back to this exhibit, People's 120 again?
I was going to talk about stains, so I thought it might be useful for it to be here, unless logistically we just can't do that.
Oh, if you're going to be referring to it, proceed.
Okay, with respect to the stains numbered 4 through 6 on our diagram, with the photo ID numbers 4 through 6, down towards the beginning portion of the driveway. Can you tell us the time frame that those stains were collected?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the record should reflect that the witness is refreshing a recollection, so notes. May I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Mazzola, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to the crime scene notes.
All right, thank you. Proceed.
They were collected around 9 o'clock, all within a few minutes of each other.
And with respect to the stains that are up towards the, close to the entrance area, stain number 7, stain number 8, what was the time frame of those stains?
Those were approximately 10 to 15 minutes later.
Did you have some time frames in your crime scene identification checklist that you can give us?
Item 7 was collected approximately 9:10. Item 8, approximately 15 minutes later.
Okay. Now, when you were at the location, from what you saw of all of the stains, did any of them appear to have been stepped in?
No.
Now, before, I can take this down now, Your Honor.
All right. Carlo, why don't you swing that around?
Before you left the Rockingham location, did you and Mr. Fung go through any process in terms of double-checking the evidence that you had?
Yes.
What was that?
We knew what item numbers we collected. We looked at each individual item to make sure that we had everything.
Okay. And is that a routine thing that you have done on the other crime scenes that you were on before this?
At the other crime scenes, we make sure that we have everything that we collected.
What did you do with the various coin envelopes that you had with the biological evidence of them in them?
They were put in a small paper bag,
Do you recall whether they were lying down or standing up?
and they were standing up.
And what was done with the paper bag?
The paper bag was put into the back of the crime scene truck
Was the crime scene truck locked?
all the time.
Approximately what time was it that you left the Rockingham location?
That was approximately 10 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Were you wearing gloves during the collection procedure of the biological evidence at Rockingham?
Yes.
And do you know whether you were wearing the same pair of gloves the whole time?
I probably changed gloves. I don't remember how many times, but
Objection, Your Honor, it's speculative. You said I probably, and we'll strike the answer.
Sustain. Rephrase the question.
Do you have a practice?
Excuse me, just curious to disregard the last question and answer.
Okay. Do you have a practice at a crime scene to wear the same pair of gloves throughout the entire crime scene?
no.
What is your practice?
I change the gloves when they start getting uncomfortable. If I am done processing an area and I am moving on to a completely separate area, I will change gloves.
By the way, just going back for a second to the blood collection procedure, do you ever touch the blood with your gloved hands
No.
when you're collecting it?
No.
What about the swatches?
No.
Is that something that has happened to you by accident, where you have touched a bloody swatch with your gloved hand?
No.
Now, what do you do with the gloves that you're wearing at the time that you leave the Rockingham location? Do you keep them on?
No, we take a paper bag, which we label trash, and any trash that we generate, whether it's used gloves, swabs, Kim wipes, anything, goes into this bag, and we take it with us.
Okay. Now, after you left the Rockingham location, where did you go?
We went to Bundy.
Approximately what time did you arrive at the Bundy location?
10:15, somewhere around there.
Now, when you arrived at the Bundy location, from your own independent recollection, what was going on at that location when you arrived?
There were a lot of people there. The coroners were there. It appeared that there were detectives at the scene.
From your independent recollection, do you recall whether you saw the body of either Nicole Brown or Ronald Goldman?
I remember seeing a brief glimpse of Mr. Goldman.
Where do you recall him being?
He was up on the walkway.
Were you paying close attention to what was going on during this period of time?
I was trying to look at everything. There was a lot going on at that time.
Okay. Do you recall an incident where Mr. Fung took a bag over to Mr. Lang, Detective Lang?
I remember Mr. Fung taking a bag up to the area.
Okay. Did you know what was going on at that time?
No.
Did you see what he did with it?
No, I don't.
Did you ever, from your own independent recollection, recall seeing Nicole Brown at the location with any blanket over her?
I don't recall seeing coal brown.
Do you remember anything about a blanket?
I remember seeing a white blanket there.
And where do you remember seeing it the first time that you can recall seeing it?
It was up on the walkway near the steps.
And did you see how it got there?
No.
Now, I'd like to direct your attention to People's 165 for identification, the board showing the Bundy biological evidence. For a moment, just to take a look at this. Does this diagram appear to depict the Bundy location?
Yes, it does.
And do the photographs appear to depict various items of biological evidence that you and Mr. Fung collected on the 13th?
Yes.
Now, with respect to this diagram, I don't think it's on here, but do you recall the first item of evidence biological evidence rather, that you collected, the first stain?
I believe it was on a tree stump. I don't see it on the
Okay, it's the photographs isn't there.
Right.
And for what purpose was that collected?
That was collected as a reference sample from Mr. Goldman.
With respect to the biological evidence in the caged off area, can you describe for us in the physical collection procedure how you and Mr. Fung worked together in collecting that evidence?
He was supervising, he was watching me after we had marked the numbers, had been photographed, measured, sketched. He watched as I collected the biological.
Okay. And do you recall whether he did any of the physical collection with respect to those items in the caged off area?
I believe there were a couple of items that he personally collected.
From your independent recollection today, do you know which ones those are?
No, I don't.
All right. And did you then begin, which did you do first, the caged off area or what we referred to as the trail in terms of collecting biological evidence?
The caged off area.
Right. And at some later point you began working on the trail?
That's correct.
Do you recall who did most of the physical swatching on the items on the trail?
I did the swatching.
Okay, now
Majority.
Do you recall any stains now from your independent recollection that Mr. Fung physically participated in swatching on the trail?
Item 112, he picked up a little more blood off of that item than I had picked up, and there was one other item farther down the trail that he picked up. I can't remember which one.
Okay, now when you said item number 112, were you looking at the photograph that has item number 47?
That's correct.
Okay, and does the call-out line depict the general area where that was located?
Yes.
Now, can you specifically tell us in terms of item or photo number where this other item was, or is it just a general recollection?
It was just a general recollection.
Can you tell us anything that stands out in your mind about that other stain, or the circumstances surrounding collecting that stain?
I remember that Mr. Fung knelt down and became a little upset because there were several purple berries in the area, and she had knelt down on one and had stained his pants. So he was a little upset about that.
Is that how you remember that item?
That's how I remember that he had picked up one farther down the trail.
Okay.
Excuse me, Counsel, Ms. Mazzola, if you would, over the last several questions and answers, you've talked over each other. Ms. Mazzola, let Mr. Goldberg finish asking the question. Mr. Goldberg, let her finish answering the question before we start with the next one.
Sorry, Your Honor. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Now, when you were collecting these items along the trail area, direct your attention to stain number 50. That's item number 115. And then stain number 51. It's down here in the lower right-hand corner. That's item number 116. Do you recall specifically why they were numbered in that order?
I do not recall why they were numbered in that order.
Okay. Do you, when you were at a scene, when you were at this scene, did you make it a practice to number them in some sort of sequence based on the geography of the location, or?
Yes.
Now, with respect to stain number 52, that's item number 117, do you recall collecting that stain?
Yes, I do.
Is there anything about that stain or the substrate control on that stain that stands out in your memory?
It stands out in my memory because when I went to take the control, a red color, the pigment, came up on the swatch, and that's the first time that's happened to me. So, and it's about the same color as the driveway, so that's why it stands out.
Other than that, do you recall anything particularly coming up on the control swatches on the other items in the trail?
Other than maybe a little dirt, thing spectacular.
But nothing that stood out in your mind? Do you recall one way or the other? I mean, was it something you took a note of?
No.
So the only one that stood out in your mind in terms of coming up with something on the control was number 52?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. You can resume your seat.
All right, Mr. Goldberg, I'd like to take our recess at this point.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first recess for the morning. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't discuss the matter with anybody else. Do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. We'll stand in recess until 10:30. Ms. Mazzola, you may step down. You're ordered to return at 10:30. All right, thank you.
I'm about to end it right now.
All right, Hansel, don't be so mean.
Okay, everybody, I'll be ending it for the night, and we will resume this witness tomorrow. All right. So thank you all for coming, and have a good evening, afternoon, day, wherever you all are, and peace.